You make this feel like home.
Hey, what's up guys? We're Jayla and Ethan, and this is our dog Coda, and we're currently in North Dakota getting ready to answer some of our most commonly asked questions that we've been asked while on the road and before we left by family and friends. So let's get into it. I wrote a list of everything on here, so I'll just be looking at this over here. So I guess the first question we should probably answer is, what are we doing?
Overlanding, as we've come to call it. For those who don't know, it's not really like a known term. It's starting to become a known term, it feels like, but we're living in our car, traveling, basically. This is like the easy answer. We wanted to see all 50 states. Before, Jayla always had idea of seeing all 50 before her 25th birthday, and that's kind of what started this whole thing, I believe. And so it just kind of evolved slowly over time, and eventually we're like, we're gonna do it, like we're gonna try to achieve this dream and everything. So yeah, I guess that's what we're doing.
Yeah, so basically we're going to all 50 states. I think like off of your point of like, this has been a dream of mine to like visit all 20 states by the time I'm 25, and COVID kind of messed some things up, so I'll actually turn 25 this fall, so I won't see all 25 before I'm 20, or all 50 before I'm 25. Yeah, this fall I turn 25.
You're not 24.
I am 24.
Oh my goodness. It's the allergies.
But
see, for some reason I thought it was...
We will be to all 50 states before I'm 26.
So when you're 25 still? Okay,
when
so
I'm
we're
still
okay.
25, so I'll still see all 50 states. So that's just kind of
husband.
our like silly goal, I guess. It's a fun goal. It's not silly, but
no, it's fun. It's really fun.
But
it's a unique one, you know. A lot of people say, oh, I would like to see the world, all 50, I'd like to see all the states and everything, but we took that to heart. So yeah, took that to heart and kind of just started to run with it when we decided we're gonna do this. And
yeah,
so I think that answers that question pretty well. That's what we're doing.
Yeah.
Right now.
So next question is, what kind of build do we have, and will they get a tour of it?
We'll definitely be getting a tour of it. As for the type of build, I mean, it's hard to like classify, I guess.
Talk about the car.
It's a Toyota Forerunner. It's a 2003 Toyota Forerunner. Technically the first year of the 4th gen. And my car before this broke down, and so I just bought this car. And it kind of turned into our vehicle a year or two after that. Like, this is our vehicle, because cars are super expensive right now. And probably always will be, but like they're even more so. And so we have a rooftop tent above us. We have the awning, obviously, right here out. And then inside we have self-made, self-built drawers in the back, and a big old cabinet. We have a big old cabinet on the driver's side passenger door, and then on this side is like KODA'S bed and stuff. So that's what type of build I guess we have. Just a Forerunner that I took all the seats out, I ripped everything out of the back, and we self-built a vehicle that we could try to live in.
Yeah, so then that leads me to our next question that we get asked a lot is, why did we decide to go with a Forerunner instead of a van?
Yeah, I kind of sort of answered that. We just had it, and vans are expensive. Crazy expensive.
Vans are really expensive right now with like the trend of van life that started during the 2020s. Definitely made some prices go up, and ultimately, I think, like, for me personally, like, my dream, I always wanted to do this out of a car. Like, I wanted to do it before, like, doing it out of a car was, like, a thing.
Yeah, definitely. Been a dream for a long time.
I had a build of, like, some different Jeeps that I had in my head, and that's originally what we're going to do. So I have, like, little blueprints and all my little journals of Jeep builds. But ultimately, like, the reasoning behind that was, like, you could get more places in a way in a car than you can with a van. But, like, technology and the way cars are going and vans are going, you could pretty much get anywhere with vans nowadays. But definitely wanted to just, like, live out that overlanding life and, like, give it a taste and a feel. And we definitely have ideas and dreams for, like, future vehicles, but for now we are definitely loving the freedom of just, like, having a small car. I'm not as nervous to drive it.
I mean, she hasn't driven it yet. I do most of the driving, which is totally fine. I enjoy the driving a lot more than she does.
It's true. So, I love being a passenger.
Yeah, passenger princess, as they are calling it nowadays in the socials. But yeah, I guess that's why. Pretty good answer to why instead of a van. Cost. And we already had this. And it's a good car, like everyone, there's a million different builds out there nowadays. It feels like there's a million different since we're starting to run in those circles now of Forerunner builds. They're a very popular car for this stuff, so it just made sense. Just roll with it, you know? So yeah, I think. Huh, Coda, you got anything to say about that? Would you rather have a van? Probably would, so you could say about us. Yep. Alrighty, so what question do we have next?
Alright, so next is, what destination are you looking forward to most?
Woo! I have a lot, we've been asked this a lot, and I have a lot of, I'm just never sure how to answer this. I'm like, well, I'm just excited to do the whole thing. Like, I want to see each state, and each state's unique in its own way and stuff, so it's always like, I don't know. I guess I could say right now it's Minnesota, because we have a really cool adventure planned there. And then, I don't know, I think it's always just going to be like, more like what the adventure, like if we have a big old adventure planned, or if like I know there's something anticipatory coming, then I'll be excited for that state. But I don't know if I would say I have like a state I'm most excited to see, especially after going to Nebraska and being like, oh, we're just gonna get it done. And then we went to Nebraska and we were actually like amazed and like had a lot of fun there, and it wasn't just cornfields, so it was like that became something exciting afterwards. And I wasn't exactly looking forward to it, but then it became something that was. So now I'm just like, if I'm excited, it's because of like what I already know what we're gonna be doing in the state. So I don't know. I don't really have an answer to that. That's kind of what I always tell people too. I'm like, well, I'm looking forward to this, but like I think I'm excited for each state. For me, anyway.
Yeah.
So I don't know. How do you feel about it? How do you answer that question when people ask you?
I always tell them, like, ultimately, like, I'm really excited to see it all and do it all. Like, since it's been on my list for so long, like, I'm just excited to go to every state. So there's not like this like one destination that I'm like, oh man, like I'm so excited to go there. But if I had to choose, I'd probably say the Pacific Northwest. Like, that's just like the most close, I guess, to Colorado, and I just like love that kind of adventure that those states have to offer. So I was just really excited to just like explore different mountains and stuff like that. But
yeah, we like our mountains.
That's kind of my top. I'm like, if I had to choose, it would be the PNW. But ultimately, I'm very excited to just like go see it all. Like, especially like you said with Nebraska, like you never know like what state's going to surprise you. North Dakota hasn't surprised us that much yet, though.
Yeah, unfortunately.
But we have some plans for when we come back next time. We'll be better prepared.
Yeah.
For now, this is all you're getting of North Dakota.
Unfortunately. That's okay. It's still been fun. It's still been an interesting trip, you know. But we do miss our mountains. Like Jayla said, we love our mountains and we miss them, and it's very strange not being able to like see them, or like it's like almost like feeling their presence around you. Like, you don't get that out here. It is flat, and we probably won't ever get over it, just like growing up all our lives. So we do love our mountains.
Alright, next question. This one we get asked to a lot, actually, but it's how can we afford to do this, and do we still have jobs? Long story short, we both lived at home after we graduated, and for Ethan while he was in college, and then we saved all of our money for almost 2 years after that, on top of what we already had saved, because
and we both graduated with no debt.
We're like very blessed to not do that from scholarships and saving that we had growing up, and just like honestly the Lord. But that's how we were able to start off. That's how we're able to buy this guy, mow, and have money in the bank. But then to answer like, do we have jobs now? I am a full-time wedding and elopement photographer. I'm not sure I'd call myself full-time still, but
I would call you full-time. You work more than 40 hours. You work more than 40 hours a week when you're busy.
I'm just doing a lot less than I did in previous years, but I'm still doing that while I'm on the road. So you could go follow me over at Westward Up on Instagram.
Shameless plug.
A shameless plug there, but that's what I do, and so that's our main source of income right now. And then we're also working just like social media and just like seeing there's so many different ways to earn revenue through social media, so we're just like exploring our options there. And that's a lot of like what Ethan's been doing, or just like researching and doing those. And then Ethan was a personal trainer before we got on the road, so we're also exploring some things that he might do while we're on the road.
That'll probably come later though. Yeah, I did performance training.
Right now your full-time job is the pineapple wagon.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of what we see as a job, especially with Jayla. Like she said, she's declining in her photography. Obviously we want to do some YouTube, we want to do social media, so we're taking that as like a job and a business. So I would say we would, even though it's not like profitable yet, I would call that our job. So yes, we do have jobs. We're just working towards something right now. But yeah, I quit my job ways out before we left so I could do the build and start getting ready for our trip while Jayla was in her busy season. Yeah, what's the next question?
Alright, this one's also a pretty popular question that we get, but how did it feel to move out of a home and into a car?
Surreal.
It still doesn't feel right.
It still doesn't feel like we like moved out. I don't know why. We've done a lot of camping trips, longer ones at that, and I think that like affects our, because we did like test trips with the tent and stuff in our new build for like a week or so, and so I mean it's been longer than that, so it's kind of weird that. But we had this discussion the other day. It's like Jayla was just like,
there's like moments that it feels like real, like whoa, like this is our life. Like there's no like turning around and going back to a home with like heat and showers and AC and bug free. Like this is just like our life now. Yeah,
but and it's kind of weird to think that.
It still just feels like vacation half the time. Yeah. Even though we're still working.
Yeah. I don't know, I think part of it is that we're doing something that we love, and so it doesn't feel like we don't feel homesick is basically what it is. Like you don't feel homesick, you don't feel like, you know, oh, I can't wait to go back and get we're just enjoying it so much that it doesn't feel like we need to go back or have those feelings, you know. Especially after getting like showers and stuff the other day. It's just like, this is what it is. I think that's probably part of the reason we don't feel.
I think it's starting to feel like home. Like we've been calling it our home for longer than we've been living in it.
Yeah, just because it will be.
So ultimately, we never gave it a second thought though.
Yeah, it's been a really weird feeling. So it's been good. I mean, most people probably wouldn't say that or relate that way, but
yeah, we like it.
Kind of weird. we're just weirdos.
We are just a little bit. All right, next question. This one always makes me laugh, but do you guys think that you guys will get along spending so much time together?
Oh gosh, I feel like that's the first thing out of a lot of people, especially strangers' mouths, is like, oh, you must really like each other, or how are you gonna get along? And like we didn't even think about it until getting asked that. Of like, I don't know. It's never, yeah, it never crossed my mind that we like would be like so close and that it could be a problem. And it hasn't been.
No.
And we never thought of it as one.
It's just like with any couple, like we're gonna have disagreements and fights, and then we're also gonna like love on each other and love doing life together. And ultimately, like I think if you have a healthy relationship, like you don't have to worry about that while you're out on the road. And I think we have a pretty healthy relationship. We love each other a lot. We spend a lot of time together anyways with each other before we're on the road.
Yep. Yeah, we've already done the on the road thing for a while. Just like for trips and stuff like that. And then we had like a trial run because obviously like I said earlier, I quit my job to do this for like 4 or 5 months out before we left. While she was working. So like she works from home unless she's at a shoot, and then I was working on the build at home, so we were always home together in our little basement apartment. And so that was like the start of it, and it went great. I think we enjoy each other's company a lot, so we're best friends.
Yeah,
so it's good.
Definitely recommend marrying your best friend. For sure. Great.
Oh yeah.
Which honestly, that's a great lead way into this next question. Are we married, and how long have we been together?
Of course.
We're married. We
Look
got
at
the
this
bling.
thing. Yeah, almost 2 years. 2 years in November 5th.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
This is coming up.
We dated for almost 5 years before we got married. That was way too long for Jayla. She was bugging me about it probably after 3, which, you know, it's fine. She graduated a lot earlier.
Pretty early.
Yeah, once she graduated college, she was like, "Where's the ring?" And I was like, "I'm still in college." And I really wanted to finish college before taking on the next thing. But we got married like immediately. Like I proposed, and we got married immediately after college. And it was almost 5 years when we did.
Yeah, and we started dating when we were 18 and 19. So we're just little baby freshmen in college when we started dating.
Freshman in college. Did the long distance thing for 2 years while I was away, and then came back.
The rest is history.
The rest is history.
But how old are we now?
I am 25. I will be 26 soon.
That was like 10 days.
Yeah, 10 days. Crazy.
I'm 24, and I'll be 25 in October, like we already clarified earlier.
Yep.
Not 25 yet.
Not yet.
Alright, so that's a little bit about us. So then next is about Coda.
Oh, just you?
Yes. Oh, just you. Girl. Alright, so how are we doing this with a dog, and does she enjoy it?
Well, like I said earlier in the build part, she actually has like a KODA'S spot on this passenger side. She has a whole platform area with her bed. That's all hers. And then below it has all her food and everything. So she does take up a lot of space, and we could fit a lot more if we didn't have her. Or we could like have easier access to things and more room. So that's a challenge. But we're doing it. It is probably the hardest thing about this whole thing, having a car and then 2 people plus a dog. Like people do it with a person or 2 people and everything, kids and families. But for us, yeah, the challenge is like the extra dog in there has made it a little harder, but it's definitely been worth it. We love having her. Like couldn't imagine not having her.
Yeah.
I think she's enjoying it.
I think so.
I think it's like stress her out. The change in routine and everything is a little stressful. And then she's on a leash more often. She gets a lot more new sniffs, but she's on a leash more often, which she doesn't like.
She's outside a lot more.
But she's outside a lot more.
Active and stimulated. Like right now, there's like lots of birds out in this like little park that we're in, and we're in a place where we can let her off the leash after this, and she can go chase them. And so ultimately, I think she does really enjoy it, even though it's just like an adjustment of life
the hair
for all of us, really.
Just threw one on my face.
But yeah, she has a lot of hair. That's
shed her.
one thing, it's
Shatter.
everywhere. But ultimately, we do love doing it with her. We wouldn't have it any other way. And then if there's ever times that we need, not I don't want to say break, but if we need somebody to dog sit for us on an adventure, we have lots of people at home that love her and will take care of her.
Yeah.
And so
We do.
she's got some good
We got a
grandparents.
good support system, and she has one. And
Yeah. But our support system's great. Like, if you guys are ever thinking about doing this, like, have a good support system at home. Like, goes a long ways with it. Even though, like, I feel like some family members weren't totally sold on the idea when we first presented it to them.
Oh, definitely not right away.
But now that they, like,
everyone's
see us having fun and, like,
so
have
excited
just, like,
now.
seen this whole journey and process, they, like, love it and they're super excited for us. But that's been, like, a huge part of making life on the road easier, is knowing that back in Colorado we have people that love us, and like if we fail out here, we have multiple homes to go back to. But hopefully we don't fail.
It's a nice thing to think about.
It's just a nice comfort to have.
We were super blessed. The Lord blessed us with a great family, and we love them a lot.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And this next one is, what's been the most challenging part so far?
Dang.
I know my answer right now.
I don't.
Kind of. My answer, honestly, is the flies. Like,
Yeah, the bugs.
the bugs are just a huge adjustment. Like, coming from Colorado, and where we live in Colorado, it's not very buggy. Like, you get your occasional mosquito, but that's it.
Not compared to everywhere else.
We're
we've been.
like, here, like, even like the grasshoppers I don't mind, the other bugs, dragonflies, butterflies, whatever. But these flies just like are everywhere. And we open up our car doors in certain places and 20 of them flying. Like, we have 20 flies in our car right now, just like hanging out there, and they don't leave until you start driving. And so it's just like, it's kind of annoying, and like that annoying aspect like makes me miss like having a home, like with walls and stuff, to be able to escape that. Otherwise, I wouldn't say there hasn't been like a super like challenging part so far.
Thing that we just like. Yeah, the bugs have been the worst. I mean, at first it was a lot of flies, and then well, they were like, when we were in Kansas, Nebraska, there was a lot of flies, and like half of them were biting flies. And so like on top of them like being annoying, you know, they land on you and all your stuff. They're also biting us, and we were just you get so fed up so fast, especially since we didn't have a lot of bugs in Colorado. Yeah, and then out here, it's just flies everywhere, all the time. It's really annoying. Yeah, that's probably the hardest part.
Bugs.
Our first night, the first thing that came to mind for me was our first night, and it was just, it was 102 degrees in Kansas, and it was like humidity on top of that heat that we've never even felt before. It was so humid. You'd barely walk out, you'd barely open the door, and you were just soaked in sweat. It was just gross. You felt like you needed a shower every 3 minutes.
It was really
And
bad.
we had it was a really hard night, and it like,
Overall, that was a really
it was like, are you sure you want to? It was like somebody like God like was like, are you sure you want to do this?
Yeah.
You know, but
And that was like our first night.
it was our
too.
very first
Our
night
first
driving
night.
out of Colorado into Kansas, and it was a rough. Other than that night, though, it's been amazing. But that was a big challenge. So I think going forward, like if we are in like extreme heat or extreme cold, either extreme for sure will be very hard. Other than that, it's the bugs.
Yeah.
But that was the only place that like we had the extreme heat that we had to
Yeah.
kind of suffer through.
We've also only been doing this for like 2 weeks.
Yeah, exactly. So I
There's
foresee.
not a lot of
foresee it.
challenges so far, and hopefully, knock on wood, it stays that way for the most part.
Yeah, so I just foresee any extreme heat or cold, and then obviously the bugs anywhere. The worst.
Alright, so this is the last thing I have for us today. It's not really a question, but I think it's a statement that we both just like want to respond to. And it's, you guys are crazy, I can never do that.
Get that all
And
the
we
time.
hear that
Explain
all the time. Which, like, I don't know, like, it's kind of derogatory in a way of, like, you guys are crazy.
What do you mean?
Like, negative. Like, I don't know, sometimes...
Negative for them?
Yeah, it's like, it's not that
Oh,
people are not, like, I don't know, it just makes me feel like I'm a crazy person. Which, like, you have to be a little crazy to do this. But, like, sometimes I'm just like, okay,
I call it a sense of adventure.
yeah.
You just have to have a sense of adventure and fun. I don't know. I like to say just don't say never to anything.
Yeah.
I feel like I've slowly learned through my life of like, yeah, don't say never to things. Like you never know like what would change and you might say yes to later or realize that that thing might be fun or like whatever it is. Like I don't know. I don't think you should say never. Like don't limit yourself.
Yeah.
You know, kind of thing. And that's why, that's the first thing that comes to mind when people say that. I'm like, well, why would you limit yourself to saying never? Like, have you even tried like camping like this for a week or anything like that? So that's the first thing that pops into my head. And so like here's a great point. Even like when Jayla told me her dream when we first started dating, I was like, oh wow, I don't think I would want to do that. Ooh. Yeah, I kind of thought she was crazy, but I never said no to her. I never said no to it, but I was always like apprehensive of like, I don't know, that sounds like not something I would want to do.
Yeah.
And we slowly went on more trips and I slowly started to realize of like, this is pretty sweet. This is fun. And we do all these crazy things I would never have thought to experience, I'm now doing. Which I love, like challenges and experiences and stuff like I love doing those things. So just like, it kind of like fell into place, sort of. And so I slowly grew to it, and then finally, a year or two ago, I clicked of like, Jayla, we should do this. You're right. Huh.
Yeah.
And Jayla was like, duh. Of course we should. I've been telling you that the whole time. And then she was like shell-shocked that I like finally came around to it.
Yeah.
But like that's like part of my point of like, don't say never.
That's true.
Just...
You had a long journey to get here.
Yeah, a long journey to get here, but I never said never, and I was always... Yeah. Semi-open to the, all you have to be is semi-open to the idea.
Yeah, if you like are an outdoors person and you like camping and you're willing to take a risk in life, like this is a really cool lifestyle to experience, whether that's just like for a month or for a year or for 10 years or longer.
Yeah,
like
take summer, whatever it is.
You just like never really know, but if you're an outdoor kind of person, you'll definitely like it. I think the only place where like I really understand like the people like who feel like we're like crazy are like people who are not outdoors people. Like if you don't like the outdoors, this lifestyle definitely isn't for you. But like I think we would say the same thing too, like back to somebody who like lives in an apartment in a big city downtown and that's their lifestyle. Like we would think that they're crazy for doing that. And so I think like everybody's definition of like you're crazy is so different and relative. So like I think we're a little wild for doing this, but I wouldn't call us crazy. Well, yeah,
you have to drop a job. You kind of have to drop your job. Most people's jobs can't travel like this.
Yeah.
And so you'd have to, like I did, you'd have to drop your job and you'd have to go full send into it. And it takes savings and it takes, you know, all that stuff. And yeah, it's like, it can be scary. There's no stability in it. It's like, it's a risk. You said it earlier, it's a risk.
I think the best things in life are the risks you take.
Yeah, you have to. Otherwise, you know, if you're always playing it safe, you're not going to experience a whole lot.
Yeah.
Take risks and do things you might be uncomfortable with to grow and all that good stuff. So, I guess that's pretty good. I don't know. I think that's my response to that.
I think you respond to that really well. Better than I would have. But yeah, that's all we have for you guys today. So thanks for tuning in. Make sure to drop a like and subscribe.
What
comment
you guys
more
think?
questions.
Yeah, more questions
that you guys have, and we'll respond to them in another video eventually.
Yeah.
And
would you guys do something like this?
Like, let us know. Like, maybe we are crazy.
Yeah. Or like, if you have done something similar, you know, let us know what your experience was. Whether it was a year, a week, a couple days. You went camping for the first time just for one night. Whatever it is. Yeah, let's talk about it.
Alright, sounds good. We'll see you next time.
See you next time.
See ya.
Later.